Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. That is Wolverhampton Wanderers reporter Mr. Liam Keane. Liam, it is day 2. We are here at Chase Stadium, Inter Miami's home ground. Behind us,
there you go.
To our right and your left, as you are looking at this, it's Florida Blue, which is the training facility. We've been there. Gary O'Neill's working extremely hard with these players, and goodness me, they're being put through their paces. Only one training session today. I say only one training session today because this was a long one. It was a mammoth one, but they worked bloody hard, didn't they?
Yeah, about 2 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really, really tough. I mean, obviously the normal warm-ups, a few rondos, keeping the ball and just getting the feet moving, and then again a lot of shape work and a lot of 11v11 work actually. Pressing, playing out from the back, different patterns of play, triangles, the whole lot, and then a few of the players who will be, nursing a couple of small niggles, which is normal and expected, went inside, and then the majority stayed out and did a sort of much smaller five-a-side style game, which gets very competitive, doesn't it? And look, they want to win. Really, really good watch again, and as you say, really tough in this heat and humidity, hotter than yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And just as humid. So yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? The transition between Marbella and now Miami. Things have definitely ratcheted up a notch, haven't they? They've gone up a couple of notches, because you look at maybe in Marbella there's a bit more individual work and small groups, and like you say now, there's quite a lot of 11 versus 11. We're getting into the games now. We travel, we go to Jacksonville, we've got the West Ham game on Saturday, so there will be a lot more games, a lot more 11 versus 11, looking at things, but it's before we breathe, it's going to be Wolves against Arsenal, isn't it? So look, it's great and it's competitive, isn't it? Like, these players aren't just passing and moving. There's a little bit of, not niggling there, but there's a few strong tackles going in there, and I think that's what Gary O'Neill will want. They want a little bit of contact, a little bit of strong contact, because that's what's going to happen, as soon as Saturday, really.
Well, you're not going to, Saturday, yeah, definitely, but also Arsenal. You're not going to go into the Arsenal game and it's going to be a nice, easy ride, is it?
Pre-season Charity Shield feel.
Exactly. They're going to put Wolves through the ringer. It's going to be tough, and you've got to be prepared for that. And I could hear Gary at one point in the five-a-sides, obviously split into teams, all desperately trying to win, trying to score, and at one point there was a team 1-0 up almost at the end of their game, and Gary starts shouting 1-0 up at the Emirates, 2 minutes to go. Like, he's starting to mentally prepare the players for
just
for
little
that
snippets
game.
Like that,
exactly.
Like mention Arteta, mention Arsenal in Marbella,
exactly.
just to get the players on on the same.
I forget which player it was in Marbella, but he mentioned about Odegaard's going to be playing here, and so obviously the majority of the tactical stuff in terms of communicating to the players will be a few weeks from now, because they've got plenty of games to come before that. But you start to just drop little things into the conversation, into the training, and you start to mentally prepare yourself for a really tough game, obviously.
I said 1-0 up with 2 minutes to go.
Absolutely, absolutely, great
Love
start. Even if they don't win the game, it's take a point. Happy days. Look, it's obviously going to be tough, but then you've got you talk about ramping it up, and then very quickly it's going to start coming down again, because you've got that game on Saturday against West Ham. Their team are flying tomorrow over to Jacksonville. They're going to have to wind down a little bit in training before that game, so that they're prepared and not completely burnt out. And it's going to be a tough game. West Ham have made some good signings. One of them we know quite well.
Who's that?
Lopetegui.
Lopetegui.
No, Max Gilbert, of course. I can't forget the skipper.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll have a full preview of that game tomorrow. Just a couple of observations, I think, in training today. First of all, Hwang Hee-chan was here today. Wasn't involved yesterday.
No, he wasn't. But nothing to worry about, as we said on the last video as well. He was here, trained the full session, very involved, and looked good. Looked strong. Looked happy. Going to be a key player for Wolves.
You say look good. A couple of players who I think stood out to both of us today. Tommy Doyle, with his range of passing, which we know is exceptional, but just seeing it, not just in an 11-a-side game, but the 5-a-side game that they play, it is simply sublime to watch at times. And when you look at the deal, when you look at Mateus Nunes going to Manchester City for 50-odd million, and then Tommy Doyle coming up for 4.3, was it? 4.3 million. It's just an insane buy, and I think he's one who's really going to progress this year, and we'll see a lot more out of him. Both him and Chiquinho, I thought, did very well today.
50% sell-on clause for Tommy Doyle, but for the money Wolves got him for, it could be 100% sell-on clause. I couldn't care less. It's an absolute steal to have him at this football club for that price. It really is. So he was excellent, and we know what he is technically as a footballer. We know how good he is, but you then see it close up in training. It's that 11v11 with where he really shone, and he didn't have a load of space, but he's using it so beautifully. Crossfield passes, lovely little intricate passes in behind the line, just so good technically at bringing the ball down and finding a Wolves shirt. So impressive. Thought he did really well. Chiquinho, you mentioned, he actually did really well in both bits, but I think the five-a-side bit where a little bit of close control, close feet, a couple of nice goals, and you can see the staff's trying to encourage him, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes really.
Yeah, like you say, they travel now tomorrow. They'll go to Jacksonville. Game on Saturday night. They'll then come back on Sunday, and they'll be joined by 4 new players. It'd be like new signings, as they say. Been away at the Euros and the Copa America, respectively. But that'll be good to get these 4 players back.
It will be good. It'll be good to get them back in, because obviously the squad is looking pretty healthy as it is. But to have those 4 added on top, I mean, it's pretty impressive. João Gomez, Pedro Neto, Jose Sarr, Nelson Semedo. My memory almost went there for a second. As I was going through, I was like, and obviously you need these key players in to start to get them ready for the Premier League season as well. Obviously Neto, there's obviously question marks over him, but the other 3 at the moment, it looks fairly standard that they'll stay at Wolves, and you need to start getting them in the rhythm for the Premier League season, because they've had really good work in Marbella and over here, but tactically, fitness-wise, you need to start getting these guys integrated again.
A couple of players who won't be here. Boubacar Traoré is at the Olympics, Enzo Gonzalez as well. So those are 2 that we won't see until probably the season starts. Would you imagine?
Most likely. Obviously, depends how they get on.
Probably be late comers. Would you say?
Yeah, it depends how they get on in the Olympics as well. But yeah, for sure. I think I said it before, but particularly with Boubacar Traoré, it's obviously, I think, probably quite frustrating for Gary and the player, as much as the player will want to represent his country, of course. I haven't spoken to Gary about this, but I'm sort of speaking for him, because we spoke at the end of the season to Gary about Bouba and sort of what he could offer, and he said that pre-season is going to be really key for him, just so he can get him in, have a bit of coaching time with him. And now that coaching time's gone, and you can't blame the player. Of course, you go and represent your country at an Olympics is a fantastic opportunity for him, and he captained the side as well the other day. So can't really blame him, but I think it's just going to hinder his impact, certainly in the early stages of the season. So we've got to hope and pray that he'll come back in good form, really. Yeah, we were looking at one of the drills they were doing, weren't they, today, and it was Tommy Doyle who was coming back and almost playing just in front of that back 4 that they were doing, and you were thinking that could be Boubacar Traoré's role, wouldn't it? So yeah, it'll be one that he might have to take a few weeks to get going and really make an impact into the squad. Yeah, I think he's going to need time. Now the fact he's playing is going to benefit. He's playing in the Olympics, he's going to be match fit. That's definitely going to be a benefit. But to not have been around it, been around what they want to do tactically going into the new season, so I've not played any pre-season games, I've been around his teammates, that's going to be a difficult one. Enzo Gonzalez, I think, is going to be someone that takes time, they're going to need time anyway, so it's less of a concern for him, but more for Bouba, who is in and around the first team and should be fighting to play with only 4 senior midfielders at the club.
That's the end of the review for day 2. Day 3's video, full preview of the West Ham game, will be from Jacksonville,
Exciting,
Florida. We're on a very early flight tomorrow, so we might be have to have a little bit of foundation under the eyes for that video.
You were most days, I think, to be fair.
We'll see you tomorrow.